Welcome to Cyber Espresso. Today, my guest is Fergus Hay, co-founder and CEO of the Hacking Games. Fergus, nice to see you in our podcast.
Murat, great to see you. Thanks for the invitation. Looking forward to our conversation.
Fergus, in one of your recent posts, you mentioned in 2027, an estimated 24 trillion will be lost to cybercrime, with 80% of teenagers experiencing hacking by age of 16. So how do you envision the hacking games equipping teenagers to become defenders and not attackers?
Well, Murat, it's a pretty startling set of data. So obviously there's some question marks over the size of the cost of cybercrime at 24 trillion. I see it as an index, a direction of travel. I think the really shocking thing is how many young people are doing the crime. And actually, the data that comes out of Europol that was published last year by Professor Julia Davidson shows that 69% of European teenagers, including the UK, have committed a cybercrime or a gross cyber misdemeanor. And when you dig into that, what that really shows you is that hacking has gone from niche to the mainstream. So, young teens who are not computer science geniuses, they are kind of script kiddies, but with horsepower, now have access to hacking tools that previous generations had to work really hard to find. They find them on Google, they get trained by YouTube, they find their tribes and cohorts on the Discord. And the entry point is gaming. And what happens is kids start gaming at about 8, they start modding and cheat code usage at about 11, 12. And at about 13, 14, they start getting kind of recruited and groomed by the cyber gangs. And the data shows that the gangs are watching kids on platforms like Roblox, 79 million kids a day on Roblox. And the gangs see the kids on Roblox and they say, hey, little kid, you want to earn 100 Robux? You want to earn some Bitcoin? You want to earn some crypto? Come over here and we'll train you and we'll put you to work. So this generation is either going to be an asset or a liability to society. And we feel pretty strongly, and the research shows that if you present this generation with a legitimate pathway where they can make money, have a career, get skilled, be mentored, the vast majority of them will take it. And that's what we're doing with the hacking games. We are presenting ethical hackers as heroes. The only image in society right now of a hacker is a criminal hacker, the hoodie up, no face, the matrix in the background. But there's no ethical hacking hero. So the first thing you do is create a heroic mindset for this generation. Then we provide a pathway. So we have a data platform that evaluates the aptitude of their hacking potential based on their gaming performance. And then we provide apprenticeships, internships, graduate job placements with our corporate and government partners. And that way we think we can shift this generation from being liabilities to society to being great assets. And we can create a generation of ethical hackers to make the world safer.
Very good. So, Fergus, I really like your quote stating cybersecurity is no longer just a technical challenge, it's a human one. Could you elaborate on your perspective, please?
Yeah, well, I think that cybersecurity has lived in the shadows for so long. And I'm not from cybersecurity, so maybe I have a fresh perspective or a different perspective, but it's kind of lived in the shadows for a long time. But just open up the media right now, and you will see that the issue is in the mass. Co-op, Harrods, Marks and Spencers,
Yeah.
Chanel, these are all Cartier, these are all the guys who've been hacked just in the last 20 days, right? And you've got books like Joe Tidy's Control Alt Chaos that have just come out. You've got articles in the Times by Mark Selman that have just come out, all identifying not the technical prowess of the hackers, but the human stories of it. So who's suffering? We talk about 300 million pounds lost in a cyber attack. But what about the individual who's had their money taken out of their bank accounts, the pensioner who's lost their pension funds? There's a human victim of it. And then
Very
there's a
good.
human perpetrator. And the human perpetrator is the 17-year-old kid in the parents' bedroom in their nice home, who the parents think are wasting their time on Fortnite, but actually they're honing really craft skills in hacking. And so it is all human. Technology comes and goes, but human behavior is pretty consistent. And so I think that's a societal issue, not a technology issue.
Yeah, okay, very nice. We know that emails are the largest threat vectors for attackers, Fergus. But why are we still clicking? Why everyone gets caught? Like, what is the psychology behind?
Well, what happens with a kid when you tell them not to put their hand in the fire? What happens? They don't listen to you until they put their hand in the fire. And so I think it's human nature. Humans are arrogant enough to think that the bad stuff only happens to other people. And then when it happens to them and their hand gets burnt, then people change their behaviors. I mean, email is hilarious. I just go and ask my friends who's got multi-factor authentication, and it's hilarious how little have them. It is absolutely crazy. And who's got their passwords? And it's the same 5 passwords across all devices. Even now, I can't believe people are still posting their geolocation and their kids stuff on Facebook. I mean, you're just feeding the animal. So I think in the end, people need to have their hand burned to change their behaviors. And there needs to be a wave of stuff we can do there. We can communicate better. We can inspire and teach better. And then as people get more and more personal experiences, their behaviors will change.
Fergus, I really appreciate your time, your dynamic attitude, sharing your insights. I look forward to talking to you in other occasions.
No, it's Murat. Total pleasure.
Take care, ciao.